Hello, this is Lance, your Sacramento private investigator server. How y'all doing today? We are here live on YouTube, and we're going to talk about process serving. We're going to talk about process serving, becoming a process server, and how to get more process server clients. That's what we're going to talk about today. So, hello. Introduce yourself, everybody. Introduce yourself. We're going to give it a few minutes for everybody to come online. We're going to give it a chance for everybody to come online. Hey, Ghost, what's going on? What's going on, Ghost? So we're going to give it a minute for everybody to come online here. Yeah, we're going to give it a minute for everybody to come online. You see the board behind me? That's all my social media platforms that I'm a member of, and it's like my schedule of stuff I have to do. And you look at all that, that's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And so, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Lance. I am a private investigator and a process server in California. And I make a living serving documents. And I specialize in serving registered agents. Now, I serve people all the time as well, but I specialize in serving registered agents because that's real simple. And so what I'm going to do is I'll respond to some of these comments here as we go, but I kind of want to give my little spiel, and then we'll go back through the comments and things like that. And so one of the things I want to do is I like to help people so they can do the same thing in their areas, so they can make a decent living being process servers. Being process servers. And people ask, what is a process server? Well, basically, a process server participates in court actions so they can notify parties that they're involved in some kind of court action. So we produce what's called service of process. And basically that is giving somebody notification that they're involved in the court action. And that's delivering documents. And it's basically a delivery. So we go to people's homes, work, things like that. We go to business locations. We go to registered agents. We go to government agencies to deliver legal papers. And then people ask, what kind of papers do we deliver? What kind of papers do we deliver? And, I deliver small claims papers, child custody papers, restraining orders, both civil harassment and domestic violence restraining orders. I serve divorce papers. I serve civil lawsuit papers, and in California, it's a complaint and summons. Now, your different states may have different served there. And those are basically the documents that I deliver. And my fee to deliver these documents range based on what it is I'm delivering. Restraining orders, I charge $250 to serve a restraining order. That's my fee, to charge $250. To serve a registered agent, depending on which website they go through, it's $75 or $125 to serve a registered agent. So a registered agent is just one trip. To serve a government agency, I charge $125. So if somebody wants to serve documents to the California Department of Motor Vehicles, it's $125. Those are my rates. Now, you have to check in your area to see what your competition is charging to serve documents. And it could range. I mean, some companies may charge $50, some may charge more. I set my rates based on how much I want to make. And as long as my rates aren't too high, most people, when they contact me, the rate is, as long as it's not too high, they're going to pay it, because the hardest part is getting them to contact you. The hardest part is getting them to contact you. So I'm gonna look at some of these chats now and see who's on the chat here, who said something. Okay, let's see here. We got Goes, Luther. What's going on, Luther? Fingerprinting Guru, and then we got Philip Hernandez going on here as well about a judgment, or something about a judgment. Okay, and so basically, when we are, let me see, another question I have. One of the things I want to answer too is, what is it? What happens if a process server can't find the person that they're trying to serve? Has anybody here a process server themselves? And what do you do when you go to a location and the person doesn't live there, or what do you do as a process server? Because I go where the client directs me to go. Unless they hire me to do a skip trace, I go to the location that they requested I go. Okay. And then what I do when I go there is, knock on the door, ask for that person specifically. And then if the occupant says they no longer live there, usually I'll have an image or a description of the person. I'll ask where the person lives. And then I notify the client that the person doesn't live there. And then offer them an additional service to do with a skip trace. And what a skip trace is I have access to databases, and process servers can get access to these same databases that does credit header information and utility bill searches, and it compiles it all into some kind of software. And then you can pay for this information, but I charge the client for that search. And I charge $75 to look up a new address. And so, so I'll charge for that search. And so that's one of my upsells. If I go to a location they're not there, I says, hey, can you, if you want me to do a skip trace to find an additional address. That's what I do when it comes to going to a location that the person doesn't live there. And so we had a comment here. Let's see what the comment is. How do you deal with difficult people that want to argue and cause harm to you? I diffuse the situation. Every time I go, if a person has a little attitude, I blame the person that hired me. This is what I say. This is my thing. Hey, somebody must be mad at you because guess I got some papers for you, legal papers. They're like, what? Who the hell for you? Somebody must be mad at you because they hired me to come serve you these documents. And so, that's what I do. Is I'll defer the anger of the person to the person that hired me. And I got the gift of gab, So when I do that, I try to diffuse the situation. Because sometimes it might be stressful situation for the person, but I diffuse it. That's what I do. Let's see. Anybody else have ideas on what they do when they get a situation that go? Okay, so the ghost, if I go to the location, no longer lives, I'll report to the client and do a skip trace for $60. Okay, that's good. You're in the UK. Okay, and can I explain? Yeah, that's the same thing I do. I defer. I was like, you know what? They must not. Did you make somebody mad? Because they got me serving you. They paid me hundreds of dollars to come out here and serve you. So I kind of diffuse the situation. And we have 713J. Can you explain niche markets? Okay. What a niche market is a location that accepts service or process for multiple entities, or a location that accepts service or process for like a government agency or a hospital, someplace that gets served multiple times. Okay, so someplace that gets served multiple times. So an example, California Department of Motor Vehicles. When somebody is serving a subpoena or lawsuit papers to the California Department of Motor Vehicles, it only goes to one location. Okay, so if you find that location and then you build online content around that location, when somebody's searching in Google how to serve that state agency, your information will pop up about serving documents there. So that's what a niche market is. And so in Sacramento, we have, I mean, I've got, and here's just the first page of all the government agencies, legal offices in Sacramento. Okay. So we've got Contractor State License Board, Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, what is it, the Dental Board, and all those agencies are served subpoenas or lawsuit papers. I mean, and when they serve those subpoenas or lawsuit papers, they have to go to these addresses. So for you in your locations, figure out, that's one of the things you can do is how do you find a niche? I mean, literally, how do you find a niche in your area? So an example would be, how would a person serve a subpoena or lawsuit papers to your local government? So whatever city or agency, how would they serve lawsuit papers to it? So let's just use an example of Stockton, California. Somebody wants to sue the city of Stockton for something that happened, and they're suing the city of Stockton. Well, how do you serve documents to the city of Stockton? Do you go to City Hall? Do they have a registered agent? Do you take it to the police department, the sheriff's department? How do you sue the city of Stockton? So if you're in Stockton, that's your area, why don't you just type that into Google and see what Google results that come up in Google? And then another thing you can do is you go to the city hall and ask the clerk, how do you serve, if I'm a process server and I'm going to be delivering documents, how do I deliver documents to me? And they'll tell you the process. You might even be able to call them and they'll tell you the process to serve documents to the city of Stockton. And then you build content online how to serve documents to the city of Stockton. And you continuously build content and take pictures and make YouTube videos and a whole bunch of other things, so that when people are searching to serve documents to that city of Stockton, that's your niche location. And for everybody that's watching this live stream, I wrote an ebook that I'm actually going to give away a free copy. It's called The Best Way for Process Servers to Make Money. That's the ebook that I'm going to give away later at the end of this live stream. I'm going to give a copy away. That has a steps by steps on how to find those locations and how to market to those locations online, so people will call you when they need to serve documents to your niche locations. So that's what will happen. So they will call you when they need to serve documents to those niche locations. Let's see what kind of comments we got. How can I find local DMVs, registered agents, Chino Hills, California? From Mr. Red. Okay. What I would do is, are there any local governments in your area? Any hospitals in your area? Any large companies in your area? Okay, so that's the that's one of the things that you want to figure out. That's kind of gives you the basics. And then you just search Google how to serve documents to those locations. And then you may have to go visit the city hall, the county recorder's office, these locations, to find out the process to serve documents to them. And then once you figure that out, then you create your online content so that people will find you when it comes to serving documents to those locations. Okay, let's see. Where can you buy the book? I don't want anything for free. I pinned a chat. If you go to the chats at the very top is a link to my website, and the book is on my website. So you can get the book on my website. It's just go to the pinned chat. I'm not saying it correctly, but I pinned a comment, and you can get a link to the book, The Best Way for Process Servers to Make Money. Because I like to do things that are easy. Going to an office to deliver 4 or 5 cases a day, one trip, and I'm done, versus having to go to somebody's house 3 times to go drop off some legal papers, and they don't open the door, or they got a fenced yard that's locked, or they're never there, or it's the wrong address. I just like to go to businesses, but I still do serve other things than people. But I prefer to do registered agents. That's my specialty, registered agents. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of the story on how I got started with the registered agents. I used to be a police officer for over 10 years. I left the force and became a private investigator. And I was working for defense attorneys, on criminal defense, helping, the interview witnesses and visiting crime scenes and visiting people, taking witness statements and canvassing crime areas and stuff like that. And then these attorneys would ask me and hire me to serve subpoenas for people to come to court to testify on the behalf of the defendants. And so I would go serve subpoenas to people. So that's how I first got started serving subpoenas. And I was like, okay, it's pretty easy. You just go drop it off and then you're done. And literally, and you fill out a little piece of paper. I was like, okay, that's pretty simple. So I was like, let me build a website talking about serving subpoenas. So I built a website and I added the serving documents to that website. And people started calling me about serving this one registered agent, corporation service company doing business as CSC lawyer. And I was like, okay, no big deal, because I was serving businesses here and there and people. And I was like, I just walk in and you just drop the documents off and you leave. And I was like, this is easy. This is easy. I was like, okay. And, and I'm getting $125 to just go drop this off and leave. I was like, okay. So what I ended up doing is I started making content around serving that location. And I started getting more and more of it. And, when I would go there, I would see process servers walking in with stacks like this of serving that location. I was like, man, I want some of that. Because if that's like more than one case and each one's $100, whoo, that ain't a bad day for one trip. For one trip. And so I started building content, making websites, making YouTube videos, posting on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. Now it's TikTok, posting everywhere. And then I started getting multiple serves at that location every day. And I'm like, I'd rather do this than go interviewing witnesses and have to write a report or go do surveillance and have to sit in my car all day in the heat, and when I can just take in 5 cases at $125 and be done in 5 minutes. I mean, hello. If you do that at 5 days a week, hello, that ain't bad. And so that's how I got started in serving the registered agents. And so now I wrote that book. And if you just get that book and you follow those steps and you follow me on social media, you'll see everything that I post, because it should show up in your timeline. You follow me, you should see all these posts, because literally I spend the majority of my day marketing my business than doing the business. Literally, the majority of my day I spend marketing the business. Like this morning, I was making videos. Literally, that's what I was doing. I was making videos. And so, because videos are easy to rank in Google. They're very easy to rank in Google. And if you make a video about doing a certain thing and somebody searches Google for doing that certain thing, your video will probably show up before your website will show up. And that's if you get that book, it's in there. It tells you what to do, how to do it. Literally, it tells you what to do, how to do it. Okay, so let's see. Got some more here. How do you get bonded and insured? Fingerprint Guru. Depends on your state. California, you have to get a process server bond when you're applying to become a process server. So let's kind of talk about that now, because that was one of my questions. How do you become a process server? So in California, you have to register. Other states have different requirements on what it takes to be a process server. So you have to do some research yourself to find out what it takes to be a process server in your area. Okay? Some states don't have any requirements. You just say you're a process server. Some you have to be appointed by the court. And so if there's some process servers in here, why don't you, put some comments as to what it takes to become a process server in your area. But in California, you have to go to your local recorder's office. You got to get the application. You got to get a process server bond for $2,500. You got to get a live scan fingerprint, and you've got to get 2 passport size photos, and then pay the fee. And as soon as your fingerprints come back, you're a process server. Okay, you're a process server. No training is required, no education is required. As long as you got a clean record and you pay the money, you're a process server. But guess what? That don't mean nothing, because if you don't know what to do, what do you do? Okay, what do you do? I mean, literally, how do you do the job? How do you fill out the paperwork? How do you get clients? I mean, literally, that's what you got to learn how to do. And guess what? I have a training program that'll teach you how to become a process server, who to serve, and how to fill out the paperwork. In that link that's pinned comment, there's a link to my training website where you can, it's specifically for California, but the concepts are pretty much the same nationwide. But the course is specifically for California because it has California forms. Because here's an example. When you serve a domestic violence restraining order, you have to do personal service. And personal service is you have to give it to the person directly. And then there's a specific proof of service form that you have to fill out once you serve them. So that's covered in the course. If you're serving a California SC 100 plaintiff's claim in order to go to small claims court, there is a specific proof of service form, it's SC 104, that you would have to fill out. And then in California, you can do what's called a substituted service. So there's a specific part of the form that has to be filled out for substituted service. So that's all covered in that course. And if you just became a process server and didn't know nothing about it, and you go out there willy-nilly and you just try to figure it out as you go along, why would you do that when you could just take this course? It'll teach you all that. Literally, it'll teach you all that. Because I had to learn the hard way. And so I wish this course was available back then, because I would have paid 10 times what this course costs. Literally, I would have paid 10 times for somebody to show me how to do it. Literally, to show me who to serve, and how to fill out the paperwork. So let's see, is anybody commenting here? No requirements but 18. Okay, this is in Alabama. No requirements but 18 years old and registered with the courts. That's perfect. So if that's all that's required, then it's just a matter of setting your business up correctly. And when I'm saying set your business up correctly, what I do is I try to attract people that are not local but out of town, people who are looking for the things that I offer, to find me online. Okay, here's a blog post that I put together on my live scan process in California. Okay, perfect. Now, where are you located, Will? Where are you located? Because literally you got to get a live scan, and you turn your paperwork in, and you're a process server, and they give you a registration number, and I believe you have to okay, and so you have to get a registration number, and then so when you fill out your proof of service form, you put that on there, the county that you're in, your number that you're identified at, and I believe it's for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. It's for 2 years. Now, I'm a private investigator. Oh, you do ink card fingerprinting. Okay. But I'm a private investigator, so I'm exempt. I don't have to register as a process server because I'm a private investigator. So I haven't registered as a process server because I don't have to, because I'm a private investigator, but I still do service a process. There's only a couple things that I can't serve as a private investigator. So what I do is I outsource those to when I get those kind of cases, I outsource those to process servers. Okay. Any advice to brand new process servers? 713J, where are you located? Which city and state are you in? What city and state are you in? Because here's the thing: is Houston, Texas. Okay, Houston has specific forms that are filed and served on people. So if you're gonna, I mean, Houston probably has divorce paper. You know, the same thing that goes on here goes on in Houston. So what you could do is, just so you can get an idea of the forms that are required, is to go to your courthouse and might be able to do it online and pull some of the cases that have been filed, and you're looking for the proof of service form for each one of those cases. So that'll give you an idea what form is required, because some states it's not a proof of service form, it's like an affidavit of service, things like that. And so you figure out the forms that are going to be required when you serve those documents, because you just don't want to. And I'm gonna tell you, because this is from experience. People hire me, I go serve their papers, I fill out a proof of service form, give it to them, and they just, they give me the great review, and they take off work to go file that paperwork at the courthouse, and they go file, and they took, and it's the wrong form. So, so to avoid that, because I've done it, I'm telling you, I've done it and gotten 1-star reviews on Google because I gave them the wrong form, and they had to take off work to go file it, and stood in line for all them hours, because filing something in court here in California, in Sacramento, you looking at 2 hours before COVID. You looking at 2 hours standing in line to file something. So they, took off work 2 hours, and then so they come back, and then I had to fill out the right one and give it to them, and then they got to go take 2 more hours out of court work to go file it again. So I learned, the hard way, and giving people money back and stuff like that, and buying people, giving them gift certificates to try to, appease them. And so I learned the hard way, so that's why I make figuring out which form to give them when you serve the documents is important. But most forms that they're basically the same thing. They want to know the case information, the party's name, the date and time, and who you gave it to, and the address that you gave it. That's basically on most proof of service forms. That's it. I mean, it's just going to be a different form, but this the same information. It's all going to include the party's names, the case number, the date and time, and address where you gave it to them. Literally, that's basically how it is. Let's see what else is going on here. No registration in UK, but I would always suggest training, as the court rules must be followed, and do many proof of service forms. Do it wrong and invalidates. See, that's the thing. And that's your reputation. If you do it wrong, that's on you. Okay, so fingerprinting guru, mobile notary, fingerprinting, signing agent, and process server. Okay, and I'm getting a lot of notaries who are taking my course. I'm getting a lot of notaries because they're already out there notarizing documents, and it's just an additional stream of income when they offer process serving, in their repertoire. It says, do you deal with PO cases? I don't want to deal with people that have a history of violence. When you're saying PO cases, what is that? Like a protective order? Yes, I do. I do them. And I put the blame on somebody else. I put the blame on somebody else. That's how I do it. Yeah, I take them. I got one I'm working on right now, and it's a domestic violence case, and he got pictures of him holding up his gun. His pictures on his little social media stuff. Yeah, I do. I'll take them. But I got spidey sense, so if it's dangerous, I won't go, or I'll figure something else out. But yeah, I'll take them. Go ahead, Will. I don't care. Okay, so Mr. Red is notary and a home inspector. Okay. I mean, you're like literally, process serving isn't my only source of income. I make money selling courses. I make money selling books. I make money private investigating. Like I've got to go do a surveillance tomorrow morning for a couple hours all week on a child custody case. So that's what that's people have different things that they do, and that's what I do. Is I have multiple streams of income coming in, not but the majority of it comes from process serving, and the majority is going to one address, that registered agent location, the one address, that registered agent location. I go there, and and in that book that I wrote, it covers how to find those locations in your area, so you can get those easy serves. That's the soup. That's the easiest serve you can do. Literally, you go to on the address. I gotta ring the bell. They let me in. They have a box with the clerk's name on the front. I leave the information in the box. They have a little tablet where I've already registered my name. I click a few buttons. It brings me up. I click that, boom, and shows that I was there. I write the clerk's name down and I leave. And then I go to my car, and on my phone I have a process server software. Does anybody use a process server software to log your serves? I go in there and log my serves on my process server software. That sends an email to the client to let them know their documents were served. And I'm done. Then I just got to go back to the office, fill out the proof of service form, quick and easy, because it's all in that software program. And then I email them a copy and mail them the original to file with the court. Super simple. That's why I like the registered agents. Okay, how do I keep myself safe when serving documents? It common sense. Common sense. Because literally, as a process server, I was only worried about getting assaulted one time. Every other time, most of the time they're just trying to evade you, but they don't open the door and things like that. But the only one time that I thought I was going to get assaulted, and it was because I was trying to serve a business, or a person and a business, and the business was closed, but they had a phone number. If you need information, call us at this number. So what I did is I was like, let me just try a little trick to get them to show up. So I called the number and says, hey, I'm your neighbor down the street. I'm getting your mail. Can you meet me at the business and I can give you your mail? I'll be there tomorrow. He goes, okay. So I didn't know this, but somebody had been stealing his mail. Okay. So he shows up thinking I had something to do with the mail theft. And, and literally he was, ready to fight. So I had to do my little word jujitsu, to diffuse the situation. And, and so, from that point on, I ain't lying no more. I'll tell you the truth. Yeah, I got some legal papers. I want to know if I can meet you to give them to you. And they already know what's going, most time they already know what's going on. If they say no, okay, well, that's fine, because all I'm doing is making the attempts. I'm trying to get it done, but I'm just making the attempts. So, that was kind of the situation where, where I thought I was going to have to go hands on with somebody, and literally, I ain't fighting nobody for $150. No way, not for $150. You, no, thank you. And so, from then on, and another thing too is, I learned this from that day. I used to keep my ID on a lanyard around my neck with my process server ID or my private investigator ID right here, so I could just show people. And so the guy, he was like, well, let me see. So I showed it to him, and he actually had it in his hand and was looking at it. And afterwards, I was like, this guy could have choked me out by just wrapping his hand around it and just drug me around if he wanted to. So I was like, I got to get rid of this thing around my neck. So what I ended up doing is I got a clip one that you clip right here, and it's an elastic. I don't have it in here. but it's basically on a little pull thing. So I keep it on in my ID on this thing. So now if somebody wants it, it's just a pull and it'll come off. But I won't keep nothing around my neck at all. Because literally he had it in his hand. Because he said, let me see. He had it in his hand. I was like, all he had to do is whoop, and just do me like, and how am I going to get out of that? So I don't put nothing around my neck anymore. Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, get them books. Literally, get them books. Make sure you follow me because I'm gonna share information on how you can do this because it's easy. I mean, it's fun. It's fun, dog. It's fun. Sometimes it's fun. I mean, literally, it's easy. I mean, you just go knock on people's doors, give them documents. Literally knock on people's doors, give them documents. Hey, Sandra, how you doing? But yeah, don't wear nothing around your neck. Don't wear nothing around your neck. Don't wear nothing around your neck because that could get you. Because if they want to look at it, because most of them want to look at it, and this is my thing too, is I'll go to a door and I'll knock on the door and they'll be like, who is it? Who is it? And I'll just pull this and go like this. And they think I'm official. They think I'm official. It's literally. So they open the door and like, hey, I'm here. I got some legal papers for such and such. And I leave the legal papers for them. Any more comments here? Yeah. Now, I'm more worried about a dog than a person. I'm more worried about dogs than people. Because, and what I do is when I go to a house that's got usually they have a fence around the front yard, I'll look up by the front door and by the hose spigot to see if they got a big dog bowl before I just go into the yard, because if they've got a chain link fence with a gate, I'll go in the gate to go serve the document. I'll go in the gate to go knock on the door, unless they got like no trespassing and all this other stuff. But most of the time, you can go like my gate. I got a chain link fence around my yard, and people come in to deliver stuff here all the time. And so I'll go in the gate and then go, but I'm looking for dogs. And I always leave the gate open, so if I got to make a hasty retreat, I can get out. And I'm not trying to open the gate to get out. And here's the prime example. This is what happened one time. I went to go serve some small claims papers or something like that. And I go to this house. It's got this link fence around it, and I'm like, okay, well. And at the front, he's got this big window. Curtains are open. And I could see there was a dog bowl in the front, but there was no dog in it because I banged on the fence a little bit just to see if I get the dog to come out. No dog. I was like, okay. And so I open the gate and I start walking in to go serve the person. And this person opens their front door and lets out this big bulldog. Now I know he did it on purpose. And I saw that dog coming at me. I took around and got out that gate and closed the dog, hits the fence. And I'm standing at the gate going like this, and the guy's looking at me out the window, and then turns around and goes back in, and goes back inside, out of view. I was like, okay. So basically, I go to my process server software, take a picture of the house and the dog, log it in, and then at that point, it's an attempt because there's no guarantee that I'm going to serve it. I never say I'm guaranteed I'm going to serve it. I guarantee I'll make the attempts, but I'll never say I'll guarantee that I'm going to serve it. So then what I'll do is you get 3 attempts on my routine service. You get 3 attempts. So I'm going to come back again. I already know that the dog is going to be in the yard. So I'm anticipating this. So the next time I was coming back to serve the documents, the guy was walking down the street from his house because I saw what he looked like. He was walking down the street from his house like, oh, there he is right there. So I just drove past him like nothing was going on, and parked a couple houses away from his house. And then I started waiting for him to start walking back to his house. He didn't have his dog with him. Started waiting for it, and then I got on my car. Hey, you're such and such. I got some papers for him. And I was able to serve him at that point. But, that was, and then I just do the same thing. I log it on my process server software on my phone, and then fill out a proof of service form and email the client a copy and mail them the original. Okay, so Ghost, if you have to wear a tie, you have a clip on it. How do you serve a person that lives in an apartment? Okay, here's an example of where you kind of have to do a minor trespass. I know in Sacramento, a lot of apartment complexes have gates around them with, access. They control the access a little bit. So what I'll do is I will wait outside for somebody else to pull in, and I just follow them in. And then I'll park and then just go to the door and knock on the door to serve them. And then that's how I gain access, because you can do. Now, I'm not an attorney. It's not legal advice. If you need an attorney, you're going to get one. But in California, you can do what's called a minor trespass to serve process. So once you service a process, then you have to leave. Yeah, so you once you serve process, then you have to leave. So I will go to an apartment complex, wait for somebody else to go in. I'll follow them in, and then I'll go park somewhere. Usually, I try to find some place that's close to the apartment that I'm going to, but not park in somebody's spot. If I can avoid it, I'll try to find like visitor parking, and then just walk in and then go try to serve it. And every time I serve, if I'm unsuccessful, I take a picture and then put that in my serve. It shows that I was actually there, so that so the client knows I actually made an attempt of trying to serve it. Because there's been times where the address I went to wasn't the right address, and they've told they says, hey, that wasn't his house, and I look and I transcribed it when I entered it in the software, so I have to go back again. But taking that picture kind of puts that in there that I was there. Okay, so that's how I serve apartments. Now, there are some apartments where you go through security to get to the actual apartment, and you just show them your process server ID, and they'll give you access 99.9% of the time, because they know that it's the legal reason to do it. But every now and then you'll get a security guard that thinks they know it all, and just don't create an issue. What I do is I just document it and just tell the client, says, hey, this guy wouldn't let me do it. He's playing this and that, but I don't, that's as far as I'll go, because I'm not trying to call the police and create a big scene, and no. And so that's how I kind of serve apartments. Okay, I never park outside the address either. I do. I don't care. I'll park outside. Do you guys carry any dog treats to slow down the dogs? No, I don't carry dog treats. Sometimes I use an Amazon packet in my hand and wear a high jacket that helps. High visible jacket that helps. Okay. Yeah, because there's sometimes I haven't done this, but there's, I had this one person, and this is one of the things I'm not even going to talk about that. We'll keep it strictly professional. So, I'm from Texas. We are allowed to carry guns. Do you think it's okay for me to have a gun on me that is concealed? Why? I mean, I don't want to carry. I could get a concealed weapons permit, but I'm not going in these situations where I think I need a gun. I don't. It's for $150. Do I? If it's going to be that bad, I just won't serve it. If it's going to be that bad, I just won't serve it. Okay, so you have a dog dazer, and a little dog whistle emits a high-pitched sound. Okay. Okay, so you got concealed weapons in California. Okay. And so Fingerprint Guru says, I stick with government agencies and registered agents. Yep, literally, you ain't got to worry about dog. That's what I'm saying. When you specialize in serving registered agents, you ain't got to worry about all that. Literally, you ain't got to worry about it. I mean, literally, and it's easy to serve registered agents. That's why you got to get that book and learn how to do this in your area. Find some place that you can serve and you just, go there every day. Look, I go to corporation service company every day. Every day I'm there. I got 2 for tomorrow so far. Literally, I got 2 for tomorrow so far. I mean, and the most money I've made in a day was like $1,800 going to corporation service company in one day, one trip, taking a whole bunch of stack of documents at $125 a pop. Versus, I ain't got to worry about, oh, you bought my course on Friday? Okay, great. Yeah. I ain't got to worry about dogs, people, none of that. I go to registered agents or government agencies or a hospital, just one location. And literally in Sacramento, there are, I think, like 10 or 12 registered agent companies in Sacramento that I just haven't, I'm in the process of building content around those locations also. But I've already got it set up with one. And so I put my effort into that one the majority of the time, but I'm building content because now, does anybody have a corporation service company doing business with CSC lawyers in their city? Corporation service company is basically what it's going to be called in other states. Corporation service company. Search that in Google. Find out where they're located, and if they're so you do, okay. So that makes it basically. Now, what's the address? This is a little secret. I'm gonna give you all a secret. What's the address? What's the address for corporation service company in your area? Their fingerprint guru. What's the address? Because this is a little secret. This is the little secret I'm gonna teach you. What's the address? There's corporation service companies in every state. They're in every state, and they are registered agents of all kinds of companies like Facebook, Google, First American Title Company, Airbnb. I mean, they represent thousands of companies, and they're big, and they're a large company, but they're the registered agent. And if people don't know what a registered agent is, it's basically a business that accepts service of process for corporations and LLCs. Okay? A business that accepts service of process for corporations and LLCs. So if you form an LLC in whatever state, the paperwork requires that you identify a person or a business to accept service of process. So corporation service company is a registered agent company. So you can hire them to be your registered agent. And they're in every state. So California, they're in my city. If they're in your city, you could just do what I do here in your city and start getting documents to serve to them. Literally, getting documents to serve to them. Exactly there, J713J is the point is that if you find a location that accepts service of or gets sued a whole bunch or gets served or they represent a bunch of people, and you just build content around that location, and then people will reach out to you to serve that location. Like, and what I do is, and like some people that you may work for, like the Alphabet Company. I'm not gonna say it, but Alphabet Company. Everybody knows who that is. If you work for those companies, are they sending you to a location that you've been to multiple times? Are they sending you to the locations you've been to multiple times? Then if you've been there multiple times, if you've been there multiple times, that's a niche because they're getting, not only is the Alphabet Company serving them, other people are probably serving them as well. Like I had a location that I went to about 3 months ago, which is a collection agency in California. And I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. I've never been here before. And so I served the documents to the collection agency. And I was like, let me do a little research online to see if they show up in a Google search about serving a subpoena to them or a lawsuit papers to them. And lo and behold, there were searches in Google about how to serve subpoenas and lawsuit papers to this company. So I built website content. I made videos. I put content on my websites about serving that location. So if you go to Google and you type in how to serve that location, you'll probably see my face show up somewhere. You'll probably see my face show up somewhere. Okay. Okay, that's why you go to the registered agent, because they deal with many businesses. Yep, that's correct. So you got a list of agents your state uses the most. Okay. Because I know in some Secretary of State websites, you can actually do a search and it'll give you the registered agents. You can do a search and it'll give you registered agents. California, you can't search for registered agents. You got to search for the company and then the registered agent. Then you look to see who the registered agent is. But some states' websites have, you can search for registered agents and it'll give you all the registered agents. Then you just see if they're in your city. And if you find them in your city, then you build the content around serving those locations. And you just follow the steps that I wrote in my book. Okay, you gotta have websites. You gotta have websites. That's how you get, in addition to videos, what other ways besides videos do you suggest to gain business? Websites. Okay, so literally, what I do is I have probably 5 websites for serving documents in Sacramento County. 5 websites, 5 different URLs. And did you find that fingerprint guru? Did you get that address yet for the ones in Georgia? Yeah, 5 websites. It may seem like a lot, but each one is got a little target on it. Like I've got a website just for serving DMV, because people search DMV subpoena in Google. So I have dmvsubpoena.com. Okay. People search, does that make sense? So dmvsubpoena.com. I have, Corporation Service Company here in Sacramento. People search, yes, a website for each niche. People search Corporation Service Company in Google. And here is the little secret. You can't use the registered agent name as your domain name, because I did it. Showed up number 1 the first couple of days, I was getting all kinds of business, and they hit me with a trademark deal, so I had to get rid of that website. So don't use the company's name as your domain name. I learned the hard way. Don't do it. Okay? Don't use their name as a domain name. The way around it is you use their address as the domain name. That's the little secret. Use their address as the domain name. Okay? Because when somebody's searching for that location, they're going to type, they basically go to Secretary of State, they find out who the registered agent is, and they copy the registered agent, which has the address in the copy, and they'll paste that into Google to find out about that address, and then that's where your website will show up. So for Corporation Service Company doing business as CSC Lawyer, their address is 2710 Gateway Oaks Drive, Suite 150N. Well, I have a website that's 2710 Gateway Oaks Drive, Suite 150N.info, whatever it is. That's my domain name. That website shows up on page 1 of Google. That's the little secret. Use the address as your URL for your website. That's a little secret tip right there. I've made thousands of dollars with that website because I used the address. Now, I have other websites, like I have a website called Best Process Server Sacramento. I've got one called ProcessServerSacramento.com. My main one, LanceCasey.com. And on that website, I have process serving information. I've got pages about process serving on that. So websites is a key. I suggest you get more than one. So have a main one and then have all these sub niche ones as well for the different locations. And then when you post content, so here's the thing, I'll make a video. Let's say I went and served Wells Fargo Bank today. I'll make a video. How to serve a subpoena to Wells Fargo Bank. I'll make that video. Okay? Then I upload that video into YouTube onto one of my process server websites onto YouTube. I'll make a little alteration to the video, upload it on another process server channel. Because I have multiple YouTube channels. Multiple. Let's say I got 5 YouTube channels as well. And so that's how I do it. You know, so when I do it, I have like 5 YouTube channels, because each website has a YouTube channel. Each Facebook page, each website has a Facebook page, its own page. Okay. And so that's how I do it. And so I'll make one video, but then I'll go to my editing software and change it just a little bit, so it's a different video, and so it's not treated as a duplicate content, but it's really the same video. Upload those into YouTube. Then you go to your websites and you write articles. You post articles about serving documents to that business at that registered agent, and you put the address in the article. So the article will be how to serve Wells Fargo Bank with the date, be the title. And then I'll take some pictures and embed the video, and then have some content. My name is Lance, and I'm a Sacramento process server, and I was hired by a law firm down in Southern California to serve a small claims paper, SC 100 plaintiff claim order to go to small claims court to Wells Fargo Bank, period. Wells Fargo's registered agent for service of process in California is Corporation Service Company doing business as CSC Lawyers Incorporating Service, period. CSC Lawyers Incorporated Service is located at the address. So if you need to serve CSC Lawyers, click the link or fill out the form or something like that. And then you do the same thing on another website, but you change it around so it's not duplicate. Okay? And that's how you take over, so your websites will start showing up in the search results. So that's why I'm saying I spend the majority of my time doing online stuff. So I can only make one trip. It takes me about 30 minutes to get there, 5 minutes to walk in, even 30 minutes to get back. So an hour worth of work, of field work, but the majority of the time is spent marketing the business. Okay, so Red says you use HostGators from our web service. How much does it cost to create additional websites? Do you only have to pay for the domain name? Well, with HostGator, depending on your hosting plan. Now, in the description of this video is a link to HostGator. I get a little affiliate link if you sign up through the link. But it depends on your hosting plan. Some of the hosting plans, you can have more than one website. So if you get a multiple web hosting plan website, then you're just paying for the domain name. You're just paying for another domain name, and you build another website around that domain name. That's how it works. Now, I have HostGator, I have Namecheap, I have GoDaddy, I have 1-in-1. Those are my main hosting plans that I use for my websites. But see, I've got, a bunch of websites, not just for processor, for private investigation and stuff like that. Okay, you got to rewatch the video. Okay. Will a landing page be suitable for the niches? Here's the thing. All of my websites are multiple pages. Will a landing page be suitable? It might, but is it just one page website? Is it a multiple page website and just one page is a landing page? Because it has a lot to do with SEO, which is search engine optimization. And in order for your websites to show up, you need to have content, you need to have links, you need to have H1, you need to have images. I mean, there's a whole bunch to get your websites to show up in the search results. So that's why I go after niches, because it's easier to rank for a niche than it is to rank for the main thing. Like if you type in process server Sacramento, you're probably not even going to see me on page 1. I already know you won't, because I'm not targeting that. I'm targeting the niche. I'm targeting the niche. So if you type in how to serve Wells Fargo, you'll see me. How to serve DMV, you'll see me. But if you just type in process server Sacramento, the only way you're going to see me because I'm paying for ads. Because I pay for ads as well. But that's the only way you're going to see me is I pay for Google AdWords advertising. Okay. Do I get leads via Washington State? Every now and then I'll get leads for other states. And so what happens is, I post content for like CSC Lawyer, Corporation Service Company, and there's one in Washington, and somebody says, hey, I need to serve them, but I need to do it in Washington. Okay. And I charge them $250, and then I find somebody that's local in Washington near their location, and I give them half. And that's how I work it with somebody else, is I subcontract it to somebody else that's local in that area. How do I go on vacation in this business? I subcontract it. Look, I subcontract the work. I got local people that, if I don't want to go do it, I just give them half the money and they'll go do it. Because the hardest part is getting the client. The work is easy. The hardest part is getting the client. So I got a couple of servers that if I'm busy, I subcontract the work to them. As a new process server, what is a good advertising budget? It would take some research and do some keyword research, but how much can you afford to spend? Because when you're saying advertising budget, where are you going to spend that advertising budget? Spend it on building websites, spend it on your hosting plan. Do those things before you spend it on Google AdWords. Because if you go Facebook, I don't advertise on Facebook. I don't make money on Facebook like that. I've never been successful with process serving on Facebook. I post on Facebook. I join groups in Facebook, but I don't really make any money with Facebook advertising. I've advertised with Facebook just to get like followers to my page, to get likes and things like that, so my page could get some rankings. But the key, but not to advertise process serving. Instagram, I've never paid for advertising Instagram or Twitter. I've paid for advertising in LinkedIn because you can narrow it down to specialties and job titles. And so I've done some advertising in LinkedIn, didn't really have much success. So I just do Google AdWords right now. And but with Google AdWords is you have to choose the keywords that you're trying to market for, and there's so many people searching for the keywords that are specific to process server Sacramento process server, Sacramento County process server, because I do phrase match and exact match searches on my Google AdWords, because I don't want just somebody in Texas typing in process server and my ad popping up, because I don't serve Texas, so I only do it for local. So I have phrase match and exact matches for process servers in my area here. And so, and I think I spend about $30 a day in Google AdWords ads. If I get one, that's $150, and I at least get one a day from them. But I don't target like CSC lawyers in the Google AdWords, because that's an expensive keyword. It's like $15 or $25 per click for a corporation service company, because they do other things. They're trying to attract people that are trying to set up corporations. So they spend a lot of money, from companies that are trying to market corporations. So I don't even average. So basically what I do is I'll make websites, YouTube videos, things like that in reference to, how to get the information out there. Now, one of the things I do too is, if you're trying to get clients as a process server, and you can get access to your court records, especially from home. If you don't know, you have to check with your county. If you can find the brand new filers who just filed their case. Because this is what I did when I first got started, is I would go to the small claims courthouse and go look at all the brand new filers from the week before, and I would call them all on the phone and ask them if they had questions about serving their documents. Hey Joe, what's going on? And I'd ask questions about serving their documents. And then usually I would get 2 or 3 a day by doing that. 3 a day by doing that, by going to the courthouse, pulling the records and calling them up and says, hey, can I answer any, I'm a process server, can I answer any questions about serving your documents? I wouldn't tell them, hey, I'm a process server, can you hire me? I would ask, do you have any questions? And then usually they'll say, oh, I already took it to the sheriff, or, I'm getting ready to find, this way, that way, and so or if they says, yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out how to serve him, but I don't know where he lives. Well, I've got access to the database, I can do a skip trace. And usually if they do a skip trace, they're going to hire you to do it. So that's one of the ways that you can get clients, is by researching your court records to find new filers. And the hardest part, this is what everybody tells me, is they want the case number. How do I get the case numbers? Because that's the only way to search. You got to figure that out at your courthouse. You can call something here in Sacramento. I can call the clerk and says, what's the last case number that was issued? And then use that as your starting point. So when you go next week, you can enter that case number and go to the following, the sequential, sequential numbers, or go prior numbers to figure out what's going on. Or another thing too is if you can look at the case records, and when somebody goes to court, if the case was dismissed or continued, it's usually because the person wasn't served. And then reach out to that plaintiff and says, hey, I see your case was dismissed yesterday. What happened? Why couldn't they be served? Oh, I couldn't find it. Well, I'm a process server. I got access to databases. You can hire me and I'll find a new address, and then you just go refile it and get it, and I'll go serve them for you. That's how you can generate your own clients until you start getting those clients online. Because it's going to take about 5 months before your website starts clicking. It's just about 5 months before they start, for Google even knows that you exist. Google even knows that you exist. And so, so it's going to take about, any more questions here? Let's see what's going on. Okay, Joe's getting ready for tomorrow. You've been serving for 26 years. Okay, where are you located, Joe? Where are you located? And where are you located? And so that's basically, how I'm getting ready to wrap this up here. We've been on a little over an hour, and this is kind of talking about, getting clients. And I specialize in registered agents. I wrote a book. It's in the chat. So I'm going to give away a free copy of the book. So if you're interested in getting you like these videos? Okay, well, hey, that's what I'm doing. It's Jersey, and then 12 years in Wisconsin now, and now you're in Florida. Okay, yeah, my son lives in Florida. What did you have to do to become a process server in Florida? What did you have to do to become a process server in Florida, Joe? What's the requirements? How do you become a process server in Florida? Because I get asked this a lot. Okay, a lot of new people. Yeah, that's the thing. So if you want to get a copy of my ebook, what I need you to do is send me an email, and I'm gonna draw a name from the email. So send me an email. It's info@lancecasey.com. info@lancecasey.com. LANCECASEY.com. Give me an email, and then what I'll do is I'm gonna pick somebody out of the emails and give them a coupon code so they can get a copy of my book, which is called, what's the title? The Best Way for Process Servers to Make Money. Okay. You got to get certified. Joe says you got to get certified by the court. So Florida is judicial circuit only. Okay. For Florida papers. Okay. And so different states have different requirements. Some states don't care. Some make, like Texas, you got to take a course. And before you can be, just to become a processor, in California, you just have to register, which is you just pay fee, get a bond, and get your fingerprint. And so, hey, but if you're brand new and you want to, learn about the was that book included with the course, Lance? No, it's an additional um, it's an additional purchase. But the course is just to get you started, and the book is to specialize. It's to specialize. And tell me about you. See, everybody think about this. I'm thinking about setting up a what do you call it? A group of like 6 people that are process servers, and so that we can all help each other market our businesses better. And so I'm thinking about setting up this group, and then I can share some of my marketing tips. You can share some of your marketing tips, and we can kind of keep each other, in line. So if anybody's interested in doing something like that, just let me know. Send me an email, info@lancecasey.com. And so it's called it's a mastermind group. I'm thinking of setting up a mastermind group. And so and I'm going to do, for different experience levels with the job, because some people that are brand new, you start talking about, they just need to learn how to fill out forms, but then you got people that have been doing it for a while, and it's like, how do you get these large clients? How do you get like the government contracts, or how do you get these registered agents, things like that. And so I'm thinking about setting up a mastermind group. So send me an email if you want to be included in that mastermind also. info@lancecasey.com. info@lancecasey.com. Okay. Yeah, info@lancecasey.com. I mean, because process serving, literally, if you go into one location, this is what I like. You go to one location, you take 5 documents to this one location, and each one's giving you $100. Now, you may need more than that a day. I don't have no bills. If you go to one location, each one is 10, and you're taking 5 documents, each one's giving you $100. That ain't a bad gig. That's that registered agent stuff. Because literally, there's registered agents in every state. But hey, thank you all for coming along. If you want to get a copy of that ebook, I'm gonna send me an email. I'm gonna pick somebody that sends me an email, and I'm gonna give them a free copy of my ebook titled "The Best Way for Process Servers to Make Money." If you are, everybody, do me a favor, give me some likes. Give me some likes. It helps YouTube treat me better. So like my video. Everybody like this live stream. But and so make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed already, so you'll be notified when I'm going to go live again, because next week I'm planning on I'm going to go live while I'm out in the field. And you can, for you newbies that want to know how to do the job, things like that, you can see me out in the field. And then, but my specialty is marketing that business to get those clients, because without those clients, it don't make a difference. But you can get a job working for the Alphabet, paying you $20. You can do that, but and you got to do 50 of them a day. Okay, you do that. And I'm gonna go to one location and take 5 at $125 a pop, and be done in an hour. Literally, be done in an hour. And so, any more questions about process serving, advertising, or anything like that? Any more questions? You good on that? Me too. You know what I'm saying? Alphabet. Now, if you're just getting started, the Alphabet is not bad, because you kind of learn. But once you've got to figure out how to get your own clients. Get that book in the pinned comments or in the description of this video. Get that book. Learn how to make your own money. So everybody, you have a great evening. I'll see you in a few days when I'm out again. Let's get this money.